Bonjour les Yanine, c'est la première leçon de Week 2. Écrivez la date et le titre, lundi 1er mars ou jeudi 4 mars. Le titre c'est On voyage comment? It means how are we traveling? This half term we are learning the vocab of transport and the vocab to describe holidays. Alors, copiez et traduisez ces moyens de transport. Copy and translate these means of transport and try to look up other means of transport that I haven't listed here. Be careful, voiture is a feminine word, so don't write le in front of it, write la. You've got 1 minute, off you go. Pause now. Okay, so l'avion is the plane, le train, the train, le ferry, the ferry, le bus, the bus. So far, it was very easy. Careful with the next one. Le car is a false friend. Le car is the coach. Then, le bateau, the boat, le métro, the underground, le vélo, the bike, le camion, the lorry or the truck, and finally, la voiture, the car. Okay? So correct your work in green or red. On continue. Voici les objectifs de la semaine. On va comprendre le vocabulaire sur les moyens de transport et réviser comment faire des phrases comparatives et faire des phrases négatives. On s'entraînera à utiliser tout ça dans un paragraphe et on évaluera nos progrès. Alors, premièrement, la comparaison. The first two sentences are comparative sentences. And I thought I would challenge you today and include as well two other sentences, these two, which are superlative. They're not comparison, that's superlative. Let's start with the comparison. So the two sentences at the top. Have a think. What are these words written in red? Cher, pratique, écolo. What type of words are they? Are they verbs? No. Are they nouns? No. They are adjectives. When you make a comparison, you're comparing something to something else and you're using adjectives. It's the same in English, okay? For example, the metro is less expensive than the car. It's the same as in English. What we do in French is we put moins or plus in front of the adjective, and the adjective is followed by que. It's the same structure as in English. So, moins means less, que means than, plus means more, and que again means than. Okay? So, write down in your book la comparaison and copy down these two sentences at the top. Le métro est moins cher que la voiture. Le bus est plus pratique et écolo que le bateau et le car. And now we're going to write the structure in order for you to be able to make any comparison in French. So, write down underneath these two sentences, write down comparative, and this is something, the purple box is something that you need to put in color, make it stand out, because this is the structure that will help you create any comparison you want. So make sure you write that you need moins, and make sure you add, I did not write it on my slide, but make sure you add the translation. Moins means less. So write down moins, it means less. Aussi, it means as. And plus, which means more. Then we have the adjective. And then we have the word for than, which is que. you can see these two sentences follow this pattern. Okay? We will practice in a second. Then, now let's have a look at the superlative. These two sentences are not comparing two things. They are using a superlative. The first sentence is the bike is the least polluting, or in good English you would actually say cycling is the least polluting, for example, way of going somewhere, you know. So what is the structure here? We've got le moins, and then we've got our adjective. We do not need que, because in the superlative, we're comparing one thing to everything else. Okay? So cycling is the least polluting. L'avion est le plus rapide. So avion means plane, but here you would translate as flying, maybe. Flying is the most rapid way of traveling, okay? So we are comparing flying to every other means of transport. So we use the superlative instead of the comparison. So, as you can see with these two sentences, the superlative is formed this way. You've got le or la or les. In these two examples, you just had le, but it could be la, it could be les. What do you think this depends on? How do you choose between le, la, or les? You choose by looking at what we are referring to. Because vélo is masculine here, and we are talking about this, we need to use le. If I was talking about la voiture, I would have said la voiture est la moins polluante. I would have used la, and I would have made the adjective agreement. Okay. So you have le, la, or les, and then moins or plus to make the least, le moins, or the most, le plus, followed by the adjective. Write down these two examples and the green box. Make sure you copy down these irregular phrases. Better than is mieux que. The best is le meilleur. And the worst is le pire. Learn them off by heart. Using a comparative in a French exam, in a writing or speaking, will help you get the top mark. So it's very important that you learn these structures off by heart and that you try and use them as often as possible. You have 2 minutes to finish copying this. Pause now, and I'm going to move on. Okay, alors, now let's practice. Copy the sentences, but make sure you translate the phrases in purple. So I've put them in English. You need to put them in French using what we've learned about comparative and superlative. Off you go. Pause now. Just to help you, expensive is cher, C-H-E-R, but be careful, voiture is feminine. You'll need to make the adjective agreement. Look up any vocab that you don't know. Make sure you pause. I'm continuing. Right, so la voiture est moins chère que l'avion. Moins for less, expensive than. Cher ends with an E because we made it feminine, because cher refers to la voiture. And there's a little irregularity with this adjective. We add an accent going down on the first E. I did not expect you to know this, but make sure you add it on your word. Number 2, le car est plus pratique que le vélo. You may have used the adjective utile, and that would be correct as well. Okay. Careful, in French, we don't say practical. There's no C after the A. Okay. And finally, the boat is less polluting than the metro. So, le bateau est moins polluant que le métro. Okay, less polluting than the metro. I'm not sure about this fact, actually. These are just sentences to practice comparison. I am not saying that these are true, okay? Très bien. Maintenant, you need to log on to Kabodo, exercise 2, page 112. Exercice 2, page 112. Il faut copier la grille, copy this grid, and you need to make sure you look at the first exercise on page 112, because this is what will help you to fill this grid, okay? These numbers here match the transports that are the images on the page. So make sure you check carefully on page 112. So write down the numbers in the grid as you hear the answers from these students. Okay, I give you 2 minutes to do this. You can listen to it twice. In an exam, you would always listen to recordings twice. Okay, pause now. Alors maintenant, voici les réponses. Here are the answers. Alors pour Hugo, he says he takes, what he said refers to number 6 and number 8. And for j'aime prendre, what he likes to take is number 2. Karim, for je prends, he mentioned 8 and 1. And for j'aime prendre, 3. Pour Sandrine, so she says that she takes, so it was number 7 and 1. And for j'aime prendre, 2 and 4. Finally, for Robin, for je prends, it was 6 and 3. And for j'aime prendre, 5 and 2. You can listen to it again if you want to improve your listening skills. Ok, on continue. Maintenant, on va apprendre encore plus de vocabulaire et on va s'entraîner à comprendre les comparaisons. So, you need to find the French for the following phrases. You don't need to copy the English. Just make sure you do like on the example. A is on utilise les transports en commun. We use public transport. So I'm going to read the text so that you practice listening at the same time as reading. Follow as I'm reading, okay? On préfère quel moyen de transport aujourd'hui? Dans les grandes villes, on utilise les transports en commun comme le bus ou le métro parce que c'est plus pratique, moins polluant et moins cher que la voiture ou le taxi. Le vélo, c'est très écologique et c'est bon pour la santé. Aujourd'hui, on préfère la voiture électrique car elle est moins polluante que la voiture à essence. Mais l'avion reste le moyen de transport le plus rapide pour voyager. En revanche, c'est probablement le plus cher et le plus polluant. You've got some help here. À essence means petrol powered. Off you go, you've got 1 minute to do this. Be super fast. Allez très vite. Make sure you pause. Ok, on corrige. Alors, we use public transport was in the first line. On utilise les transports en commun. B, it's more practical. It was c'est plus pratique. Remember, no C after the A. Then, less expensive than the car was moins cher que la voiture. Okay? It's very environmentally friendly. C'est très écologique. C'est très écologique. Remember this word, écologique. It will be in the GCSE. Talking about the environment is one whole topic in the French GCSE. Écologique. Eco-friendly. Then the electric car is la voiture électrique. Et enfin, the fastest means of transport is le moyen de transport le plus rapide. Le moyen de transport le plus rapide. Okay? Make sure you correct your work in red or green. And we continue. C'est fini. Nous avons atteint tous nos objectifs pour cette leçon. Now it's time for the plenary. So, explain out loud how to form a comparison in French. Do not look in your book. You need to make your brain work. This is how memory works. You need to force yourself to not have help and manage to remember the information. Off you go, explain out loud how to form a comparison in French. Okay, très bien. So if you want to check if you were right or wrong, go back in your book and check what we wrote about comparison. Make sure you hand in your work. Bravo les year 9 et à très bientôt.